Chirandu Osisiago, presenter Television Nigerian Business Daily. In a globalizing world, ours is to keep you engaged, informed and educated on contemporary happenings in the business world. We therefore command a special audience of business-minded viewers who are eager to know more about business, your business. Why don't you take advantage of our special affordable offer to let the world know about your concepts, your goods, and of course, your services? You can call us on 080-3071-6959 or 070-3234-9054. You can also visit us at Television Nigerian in Guzapi, Abuja, and follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, on Twitter at Television Nigerian. Your business is our concern. Hello and thanks for joining us on TVN Business Daily. I am Chirandu Osisiago, and today we shall be discussing on COVID-19 lockdown, the impact of Nigerian businesses. As COVID-19 continues to deal a deadly blow on the global economy, one will be poised to take a closer look at how Nigerian businesses may be thriving at the moment and may require to cope at post-lockdown. It is hoped that as fight against COVID-19 yields more progress in coming days, that the federal government may consider lifting the partial lockdown and at least allow businesses to open under stringent safety protocols that must be enforced, just as it happened in the Republic of Ghana. Of course, I have two guests in the studio to espouse more on the impact of COVID-19 on the Nigerian businesses. But before you meet my guests, let's look at the business update for today. The international oil benchmark Brent crude fell to $26 per barrel on Monday as the demand collapse triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a massive oversupply in the global oil market. The lockdown imposed in many of the world's major economies have sent crude demand tumbling. US oil prices crashed below $0 per barrel on Monday, hitting the lowest level since the contract launched in 1983 on warnings that storage could fill up within weeks. However, Brent against which Nigerian crude oil is priced dropped by $2.10 to $25.98 per barrel by 9:44 p.m. Nigerian time, while the U.S. benchmark West Texas Intermediate sank by $40.77 to -$22.50 per barrel. Transaction on the Nigerian Floor Exchange on Monday recorded a marginal loss to commence the weekly trading activities. The market price closed negative with 16 losers against 14 gainers. Key market indicators, the NSE All-Share Index declined by 0.005% as investors continued to sell off their shares following the coronavirus global threat. Consequently, the all-share index dropped by 1.18 basic points or 0.005% from 22,921.59 index points last Friday to 22,920.41, while the market capitalization of equities depreciated by 613 million naira to close at 11,945.042 trillion naira from 11,945.655 trillion naira. The nation hydropower plants have seen their output levels tumble in the past few days, causing total power generation to drop below 4,000 megawatts. Electricity generation from Kanji, Jebel, and Shiroro hydropower stations fell to 534 megawatts as of 6 a.m. on Monday from 980 megawatts on April 16. Data from the Nigerian Electricity System Operator showed. However, the three plants saw their output levels fall by 277 megawatts, 157 megawatts, and 100 megawatts respectively as of 6 a.m. on Monday, contributing 14.21% to national generation. The restriction in movement of people and goods is beginning to impact Nigeria's food supply chain and may lead to job and income losses, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Sabu Nanono, has said. Nanono said this at the COVID-19 food supply chain inter-ministerial policy response meeting in Abuja on Monday. The minister said it was therefore important for government institutions to come up with solutions that would permit easy access to the food supply chain in Nigeria. The inter-ministerial team is made up of the Ministries of Defense, Policy Affairs and Interior. And that's the business update on television Nigerian. I'm Chiwendu Osisiago. Now let's take a quick break and afterwards we'll be back. So stay with us. Thanks for joining us again, and in case you're just joining us, it's TVN Business Daily. Like I said earlier, we shall be discussing on the impacts of COVID-19 on the Nigerian businesses. And I have two guests with me in the studio who will be expressing more on this. First of all, I have Mr. Philip Poor. You're welcome to studio.
Thank you so much.
He's the public affairs analyst, and I also have Mr. Clement Akugo. I hope I'm correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome to TVN Business. Okay, speaking about the COVID-19 pandemic in the country, what do you think, to your own best of understanding, is the impact it has had on the Nigerian businesses?
First of all, we have to understand the kind of economy we operate, which is a monopolistic economy, which is dependent on oil. And the second fact is that we are dependent. That means we import more than we export. So the impact of COVID-19 is more like an imported impact because we rely basically on the Western economy to sustain our own economy. And if you look at the indices, I was looking at the Wall Street Journal this morning, the statistics are mind-blowing. 2 million persons filed for unemployment in Texas. In total, 20 million persons have filed for unemployment in the whole of US. And the Asian economy has hit a very long downtime for up to 60 years now. So this impacts, it goes down, oil prices are down already, COVID-19 and the rest of it. Everybody's having their own piece of the cake from the whole scenario.
Okay, let's take your view from Mr. Clement. What do you think?
COVID-19 has just slowed down audio businesses. Like it's a general enemy. This is the first time we all are having a very general enemy. Every business has been just called to the halt, and it's just something you can, just a time. I hope in the few days, like, we'll get over this.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, looking at generally now, if you go to the markets, you can go to supermarkets or other places, you realize that the hike in prices is actually very high. Like tomatoes was initially sold at 100 naira, now you can buy tomatoes for 250 naira. And a bag of pure water was initially 100 naira, but now it's 200 naira. Of course, a bag of rice and gari and all that. So what do you think, Mr. Philip?
You see, one of the genuinity of the Nigerian man or an African is the ability to adapt. I would make reference to when the subsidy on petroleum was taken off. You discover people who were consuming 20 liters began to consume 10. Yeah. Now, Nigerians, we have a threshold to endure things. And what we've discovered, the good thing about our own nation is that we are surviving based on black markets. Because unlike the mechanized nations where you have to get everything you need from a mall, we have some persons who would want to sell on the roadside. So if you want to consume or make a full pot of stew, because of the price, you just have to come down and regulate what you want to take in. So it brings us to the adage, you cut your coat according to your pocket. Now, not according to your size anymore. So it's one thing, it's teaching us the ability to adapt. And good thing is, you see, this morning I read the news where a Chinese company in the US are about to launch a driverless car. Now that's a functionality of the COVID, because before the virus came in, people were skeptical about it. Now you have a car that could deliver things to you without a driver, so nobody's at risk. Okay. You get what I'm saying? So now bringing it down to Nigeria, we've been able to adapt by adjusting how we consume, what we consume, and at what rate we consume them. So the impact really, realistically from the econometrical dimension, should not really hit Africa. but there are so many dimensions to the COVID, so let's leave it on a neutral ground.
So that means you're not seeing anything wrong in the hike of prices?
The hike in price,
yeah.
You see, these are economic outplays. Yes, the third law of demand and supply states that the lower the supply,
Okay.
the higher the demand. Where the supply is low, the price goes up. So you find out that it's in crisis period. I see it from an economic perspective that wealth is being redistributed. So you won't blame people for wanting to sell with the price hike. You get what I'm saying? So it's on the two sides. From a humanistic perspective, normally we're supposed to be okay. Let's give this thing at the normal price where we could benefit. But these persons on a normal day, they are the ones at the receiving end of the exploitation because of the gaps in agriculture. Now you have to talk about the gaps in agriculture, where farmers often have always been the ones who are at the receiving end. They are always at a loss because of the inability of our nation to take agriculture to a technological level where we take off the middlemen. Now the price is high. This is the best time for them to recoup on all their expenses. But from a general perspective, the hike in price is wrong. I condemn it as a person, as a humanitarian. But from an economic dimension, it's just economic tools being played out.
Okay, Mr. Clement, let's hear from you.
Okay. I want to talk about this, like you said.
Yeah.
This it's just a matter of demand, because the country we're in, Nigeria, any little opportunity, take it. So I don't blame them.
So you feel like it is right, or you
it's not right, but what can we do about it? And now it's consumer goods that we all buy, like what you can consume, and you can't challenge them, because that's how they'll tell you can't detect for them.
Okay, but after this lockdown, how do you think the small businesses may actually adjust? It's not going to be easy,
It's not going to be easy, but there will be a way.
Okay.
There'll just be a way.
Talking about that way, you see, we are known for adaptability. That's one thing you won't take from a normal average Nigerian man. So every Nigerian you see anywhere has the innate ability to succeed by his ability to adapt. This is the season. It's just like a normal season. I was privileged to be at Rwanda sometime 2017 around the Christmas period. And the funny thing was, it was a festive season and people were giving discounts. But in Nigeria, what do you find out during festive seasons? The price of things go up. So it's like our norm. It's like something we've accepted. The argument should not be the hike in price and the rest of it, because we know coronavirus has not come to stay.
Okay.
Yes, the real issue should be the government trying to bring out regulatory agencies that will check out prices on the long run. Because in business, really, what really counts for business, Nigeria is a very strong business. It's a very strong corporation. Yeah. What really counts is we should come to a point where we should be making long-term decisions, or decisions that will be affecting us on a long-term basis. So we would not have these things on the ground. Now, you find out that even post-COVID, there are certain things that their price has gone up that will never come down again, because we just say that, yes, this is a time, let's just benefit from this as a whole.
But why do you think Nigerians, they use every little opportunity to increase their goods in the market and all that? Why do you think we do that? Almost every time.
Herbert Spencer, in his analogy of biological mechanisms, he said, life is a theater for survival, where the fittest survive. Are you getting it? So in this theater, we always have people coming and people going out. We don't have a fixed market. We don't have a fixed supply. So every opportunity people get, they tend to want to make use of it to survive. And let me also chip this in, that this is one of the reasons why the Nigerian economy, contrary to what most economies are projecting, is going to come out stronger.
Okay.
Yes, you see, there's a difference between reality and politics. I know the government are going to play so much politics around this coronavirus kind of thing. One thing you should watch out for is the amount they're going to accept they've spent on trying to curtail this virus. But in the real term, wasn't spent. Even according to statistics from IMF, as of last week, I discovered that the worst hit economies were the eastern part of Asia, the Pacific, Europe, and the Scandinavian nations. Africa, for the first time, was sustained because of black markets. So really, post-COVID should not be a thing of just the hike in price and the reduction in price. It should be a thing where we should introspect. I believe in Afro-capitalism, an idea championed by the chairman of Hess Holdings, Dr. Tony Elumelu, which believes that Africans, we have come of age to determine our future. That is to say, we should understand what we need, we should look for what we need in Africa and look for a way as Africans to bring those stuffs down to Africa. Because on the long run, you don't sustain a huge continent, rich as it is, as Africa, based on imported goods. If you take a downstroke into Dr. Matthew Ashimolowo's book, The Black Tribe, the Black Tribe, he took time to eulogize and tell us the quality, quantity, and the uniqueness of the natural resources that are abound in an African nation. Also, let me take note of Frantz Fanon's book, Wretched Tribe of the Earth. He said, Africans will continue to live in perpetual subjugation so long as they don't introspect and look within to discover what we could have, what we could do with what we have, and the profit we could make from where we are. So it is these ideas, I believe, the chairman of Harris Holding put together, called Afro-capitalism, where private nations, I don't just believe that the argument or the subject of development should be left to the government alone. The private corporation has a role to play, the government has a role to play. So if we create a nexus where the government and the private sectors could meet, because you could discover that oftentimes there's always a clash. Okay. From the Nigerian Labour Congress part of it, to the TUC, to the different regulatory boards, there's always a clash. So it's just beyond the coronavirus thing. The coronavirus has come as a malaria to make us understand that, yes, there are certain things we're doing that we're not supposed to do. So really it's the time for everybody to go back, and I believe everybody has gone back. But the funny thing is, not everybody is engaging his mind or her mind in productive things. So it's going to be shocking that we're still going to come back as a nation and continue for where we stopped.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so do you see the small businesses, thrive afterwards?
In Nigeria, normally we have a thick skin in Nigeria. We can cope with any weather. That's divine because normally, no matter, even come shine, no matter how hard the weather is, an average Nigerian will survive.
Okay, thank you. Okay, though this coronavirus pandemic period, everybody has been advised to work from home. So do you see it gaining grounds after the lockdown?
Not at all.
Why?
Yes. We don't have, firstly, as a nation, we've not built capacity to hold technology. Now, you can't talk about technology without talking about power. Now, the question goes, what have we done about power? There were so many arguments about the first civilian president after 1999, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, investing so much on power, and we discovered nothing was found. In the letter to the Minister of Education, the ASU chairman yesterday stated vehemently and in clear terms that so long as we lack infrastructural capacity, you see, working from home does not just entail you just getting access to the internet. What if the phones go down? What about the pollutions the generators cause in the cost of charging the phones?
I feel private organizations or wherever you're working from actually provide such.
The private organizations we have in Nigeria, there are few of them who have grown to the level of sustaining growth beyond the office scene. Yes, I would state why. You see, we don't have structures. The business we run in Nigeria, most often they are reactive. Now, coronavirus, it's surprising that most of the private companies we talk about are looking for ways to gain profit through coronavirus. But the real thing is post-COVID. That's where the challenge lies. Because when you're done making profit from the old scenario coronavirus, you don't make sustainable wealth from a trend. You only make from something you've built over time. Now, I take my cue from Harris Holdings again. Now, this is a time where they've gone back. They are taking on various researches on the possible outcomes, the possible ways to get out of COVID. And what did they come out with? Investment in power. People are certain that after this period, Nigerian economy is going to go down. What economy is going to go down because of oil? No. That's a part of an argument. But really, going forward and to be realistic, they've been making arguments to bring in energy to replace oil. Now, I believe this is the best time to test run these things. And this is not the first time the world is being hit with a pandemic as this, and we came out and we survived. So the best thing is, instead of sharing fear to the outside world, we could share a little bit of positivity. Now, going back to the main focus of the question you just asked, how will small business enterprises survive after this? You see, growth often is sustained when you have a long-term goal. Often the entrepreneurs we have, they think entrepreneur is just a joke. Yes, often we've run from the title of MD CEO because it's not just a title you should give to anybody who just starts something. It's a title that should be achieved. And I gave myself a personal task that the business we're running, except we come to a point where we have over $1 million worth of assets, not less liabilities, assets, we would not take the title of MD CEO. So I prefer to be called a salesman. Now, this is a long-term goal. Now we use short-term parameters to watch the long-term goals. And what are these? We're not just out to make profit. An average entrepreneur wants to just make profit. No, it's not supposed to be so. It's supposed to be profit alongside social welfare. You're getting profit. Are you creating employment? You're getting profit. What are you giving back to the society? You're getting profit. What are you contributing to the government? These are questions that need to be asked. And various institutions and organizations need to be put in place to checkmate these things.
No, because everybody, they're only after their pockets. They're not after the citizens.
Let me say this. A mandate is a precursor to a mindset.
Yeah.
That means what a man sets out to do determines what he thinks about. I'm a cosmopolitan in approach. I believe in the power of community. I was listening to Tony Elimelu yesterday. He said the greatest power you could get is the power of people. That means the best thing you could do for a nation through your business is to be able to have raised men who are competent. And raising men who are competent does not mean you should own your staff. It should mean you should give your staff a free hand. Now, freedom really, the definition of freedom is not restriction, it's liberty. Now, give them a platform where they could take decisions and they are responsible for the decisions they're making. Peter Drucker in his book, The Effective Executive, stated that when people or subordinates are made to be part of an organization, they're given more because the natural African mind, he was talking from an African perspective. You can't use an administrative book from the Russia to come and apply in Africa because we have an history of slave trade. So if you come to an African man with force, he will withdraw from you.
Okay, before we go on a break, let's hear from Mr. Clement. Working from home, yeah. Do you think it's getting grounds after the lockdown?
I don't think so because you're not prepared for this.
Okay.
You don't just go to a war and start preparing. You stay prepared.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's quickly go on a quick break, and when we're back, we'll continue. So stay with us. Nigerians are observing a stay-at-home order due to the coronavirus pandemic in the country. Following that development, food items in the market has rapidly increased. I'm in the market to find out the prices of food items in the market. So stay with us. So how has this coronavirus pandemic affected the prices of food items?
No be small thing, e affect well. Garri they say 700 naira badge. So now na 22,000, mudu 300, red 350, badge before 12,000, now 22,000. Rice 30,000 badge. This one it don't pass corona. Food hungry won't keep people for house. May they help us. No light. How person go there for house without light? They must come outside, come take breeze now. Corona hungry, people won't die. May they help us. Make Buhari help us. May they help us. May they open way for us.
Okay, what about your customers? Did they come soon?
Oh, they no come. Oh, they no come at all. They no come.
Why you think so?
My name is Chiwendil Osisiago, presenter at Television Nigerian Business Daily. In a globalizing world, ours is to keep you engaged, informed, and educated on contemporary happenings in the business world. We therefore command a special audience of business-minded viewers who are eager to know more about business and your business. Why don't you take advantage of our special affordable offer to let the world know about your concepts, your goods, and of course, your services? You can call us on 080-3071-6959 or 070-3234-9054. You can also visit us at Television Nigerian in Guzapi, Abuja, and follow us on all the social media handles on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, on Twitter at Television Nigerian. Your business is our concern.
Okay, we have come to the end of this interview, and I sincerely want to appreciate my guest, Mr. Philip. Thank you for coming on TV and Business, and Mr. Clement too. We hope to have you some other time.
Thank you so much.
And that's much we have for you today on TV and Business Daily. I am Chiwendil Osisiago, and don't forget that you can follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook and YouTube, and also on Twitter at Television Nigeria. And thanks for watching. Do have a wonderful day.